What's going on, guys? It's Kellen here from Start Your Systems, and welcome back to MX Bikes, where today we're going to be playing round 6 from Detroit, and we're going to do our usual spiel of can we do all the lines that were done IRL from the real life Detroit over the weekend. I went to the race, got to see firsthand this track, obviously down on press day, did a little bit of track walk on Friday with the boys, and then saw this thing raced on Saturday. And always love to go back to MX Bikes and kind of look at it again, because I don't get to see this track right when it comes out. I'm always traveling and going to these things, so coming back and actually playing the track afterwards, I get like the unique perspective of seeing this track again after, whereas most of you guys play it before. And I know that the last few rounds, really mainly Glendale, people were not stoked how different the track in MX Bikes was than what it ended up being in real life. We talked about it in a video for Glendale where the lines are way different. We tried to do some of the quads and stuff like that, and it just simply wasn't possible. So today we're actually going to kind of give credit to the track crew, because to be honest, for the most part, they got this track about as bang on as it can be for the big lines around this track. And I am on the free ride OEM, so I'm going to be able to do like a little bit easier or bigger stuff than kind of everybody was doing in MX Bikes. But like even right through here, they clean this up IRL, but you can do this triple quad thing into this corner. And I don't know why suddenly I decided I'm going to suck at playing this game, but they got that, rid of that in real life, but you can do it in this game. So that's kind of cool that like they'd even somehow predicted that would be correct. The triple out of this corner, totally right. I mean, even I think maybe they could have lowered the landing of that just slightly, but I know on Friday it was really built up, that landing, and the guys complained to Dirtworks about it, and then they got it lowered down a little bit. So that's correct. The double out of the sand's right. Coming down the start straight, main line pretty much throughout the day was going outside to this berm, tripling up onto this table, stepping off, and then tripling here, which we're going to come up a little bit short on, and front flip, but totally doable in the game. And then honestly, no one ever could do something like this, which is stepping up onto the plateau, because they had it like as pretty much a roller coming out of that corner the whole time. But I'm actually okay with that split section being there like that, because to be honest, like it should have been a line that they ended up making IRL. So the other option was going through here, rolling this, stepping up onto this, and then stepping off, which is pretty difficult because of the way that they built that roller. But again, I'm kind of okay with it, because I think the way they built it IRL could have been cleaned up a little bit differently, and maybe actually had a couple more options through it. Eventually they got rid of this line through here, and so you would do this line instead for the most part. Chase Sexton was doing a line where you would jump up onto that tabletop thingy, but actually I had some people post-race tell me they dart fished it, and Sexton's line there was actually slower than everyone else, but it did set him up for the corner into the whoops a little bit better. The roller before the whoops is right, the triple's right. Honestly, like I said, I really think that the ARL crew here deserves a lot of credit, because they build this track really like weeks before the race comes out, because they obviously have to get ahead on the series a little bit and then button it up before the racing on Friday, before to race ARL and stuff like that. But to get it as close as they did this week is pretty impressive in my opinion. So I haven't played the PCK tracks, I haven't played any of the other ones to see just how close they got it, but kudos to ARL, because they absolutely nailed it. So let's talk about this track a little bit, how it's shaped up, why they changed some things and all that. And of course they did change this quad line, which most of the guys, even 250 guys, are starting to figure out kind of, I don't know, pretty much through the first sessions of the day. And then the qualies went out there, Q1 went out there, and Joey Savacci had a huge one on it. Said that he came through, just got off balance, and then was through the front before he could even think about it. And honestly, I didn't see the crash happen live, but the way that he was laying down in the corner after the crash, I thought, oh no, that's like a season ender. That's a terrible spot to go down. They're going so fast on that quad. Red flag comes out. A lot of people thought it was because of Benny Bloss being down, but it was actually Joey who, just about died on that thing. And bars are all bent up. Kudos to the Quad Lock Honda team for getting that thing all fixed up, and he was able to go back out for Q2, but then the Dirtworks track crew fixed it. And I actually talked to the AMA after all of that had happened, like after the fixes, after Q2 happened, and they said that, because I was like, did the riders ask or like complain about this beforehand? Because I remember being on track walk on Friday and hearing a couple people say like, ooh, this is going to be burly, like we're totally able to do this, but this is kind of gnarly. And then yeah, they were doing it totally no problem on Saturday. And they said that they actually just were looking at it straight up as like they didn't really like the idea of this being a quad in the first place, because as they put it at Anaheim, there was a quad into a bowl corner before the finish line. This is A1. If you guys remember A1, there's a quad over a tabletop into the bowl corner before the finish line. And on the back of the bowl corner was a sand section. Now, in MX Bikes, there is the Steve Mathis Memorial nets right here, but IRL, they did not put those things up. So you could easily, you know, clip the quad and go over the berm into the sand section here, which at Anaheim, you know, earlier this year, A1, almost happened a couple of times. I can remember visually seeing Brad West go flying over the berm in qualifying, and I mean barely missed, just nailing Styles Robertson going through the sand. So the AMA said that they were probably going to change the quad anyway, simply for that reason, like to make sure that we don't have a situation here where a bike goes flying over the berm and then you have someone getting hit in the head. I think that they're mostly okay with quads happening, but they have to be in places that they deem to be safe. Like if you're going to have a big, you know, case or OJ or something on a quad like that, you want it to be in a spot where going over a berm or going off the track or just being able to ride out of a sketchy moment is pretty doable. And in this situation, they deemed it to be too much. So that's why eventually the call came down. The Dirtworks track crew went out, you know, leveled out some of that stuff and just made a safer racetrack. Like, yes, we want to see quads. We want to see cool big lines like that. But we also want to see guys not getting hurt. And not that Joey's situation was because of the quad. I think it was simply just he, you know, got his timing a little bit wrong and got off balance, but he still went for it. He didn't back out of it and try to do the quad. I think that in general, when they see something like that and they see that it is, you know, possible to just kind of clean it up and actually make kind of a I don't know if I want to say like a better racetrack, but a little bit more interesting racetrack, because everyone was going to go to do that quad line, and it was pretty one line through that section. But eventually, because of the way that they decided to clean it up, they made a lot of different lines. You know, they made the double over, they made this double, they made the triple onto the table, they made an option where you still tire tapped and went 2-2. So it was basically like 3 or 4 different lines that were created by cutting a quad out. And again, yes, it sucks that they took a big quad fun line out like that, but you know, when I heard it from the AMA themselves talk about the logic behind it, I totally understood. And then, of course, later there's more AMA drama, and I don't really want to get into it on this video. But if you guys ever are interested to hear more of my thoughts about the racing, be sure to listen to the LVK More Than Moto podcast presented by Liat every single week over on PulpMX. So if you go to the PulpMX YouTube channel, you guys can watch that over there. Me and my buddy Lewis Phillips debating and arguing stuff. So. But overall, like I said, I just kind of want to make this video to give kudos to the ARL boys for nailing the track. This triple right here, totally something that the guys started figuring out on press day. They would swoop through this corner. They wouldn't triple this. Like I'm tripling and then quadding into the corner. That was not something that they would be doing. They would be tire tapping. And even in, you know, I've mentioned this before, but I still think that MX Bikes has a scaling and acceleration problem, 2 things at the same time here. But they even had guys IRL coming through this corner, rolling this, doubling, and then seat bounce the quad all the way into the corner, which because of the acceleration aspect in this game doesn't seem possible at all. But Malcolm Stewart was doing it for sure. Handful of other 450 guys definitely had the oomph to do it. And I get it, you know, video game wise, they're trying to make this as close to a simulator as possible, but they kind of nerf these bikes sometimes with that simply for the sake of not allowing huge lines, because IRL, you wouldn't do a 4 or 5 or something like that for fear of getting hurt. But in a video game, you can do it because you have that freedom. So, yeah, I think sometimes, you know, it's not fully a true simulator because of that, but that's okay. Either way, really fun racetrack, really interesting race for sure that we saw on the weekend. And I liked how open this track was this week too. Very, you know, wide open corners, bowl corners, even the sand sweeper that had 2 options that left the door very wide open. And in general, we had 2 really late passes. One was controversial, one was about as standard as it gets with Roxon and Webb. So I think that this is a cool track. I would like to see more stuff similar to this. I think people complained about it being like really too tight, but I think it was overall like a pretty good, flowy, fast racetrack, and just had some, you know, unique elements to it. So I like Detroit. I don't know what you guys thought of it, but it was certainly a good one to me. So I'd appreciate to, you know, what you guys thought about it in the comment section below, and whether or not you thought that the quad is something, now that I've explained why the AMA changed it, that, you know, deserved to be changed or needed to be changed, or would you rather have bikes flying over the corner and nailing people in the sand, or should we have found a way to put a quad somewhere else, like perhaps through this next rhythm section, come out of this corner, quad over the table, so on and so forth, something along those lines. I don't know, but either way, let's see. Can we quad over the table? We can. And then triple. Oh, Almost got it. That's actually a really fun line if you can nail that. But that little the 3-footer after, I can't believe how fast I went through my tear-offs, by the way. I'm ripping them and this thing's not coming off. The 3-footer after this step on, step off is tiny. Let's try it one more time. Over table. Triple. Nope. I think I need to soak up the landing a little bit more, but I digress. We won't hang out and do that much more. Appreciate you guys stopping by and watching regardless, and hopefully you enjoyed this little MX Bikes action here on Detroit, talking about the quad, talking about the big boy lines. And if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, let me know in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys in the next one. So long for now.